Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Hello. Thank you for watching my videos. It's Mike. It's March 13th today. Friday, March 13th, 2009. And here's a couple of things I've been following. Okay, so sorry for no update earlier today. I was actually very busy today. I had lots of real work that suddenly appeared out of nowhere that needed to be dealt with, so I did. However, I did look at all the papers this morning, as I normally do, and look through comments and whatnot, so yes. And yes, the militia equals terrorist thing, that's not what I was saying. If you listen very closely, I said, but technically, it isn't. However, I'm sure people will figure this out. And yes, Alex Jones. Yeah, I know. The only reason I linked to his site was the original article there on the newsletter, which I see some people have picked up and are running full videos with, which is great. Thank you. I think that's marvelous. And yeah, I got some haters on the last one because for whatever reason, yet again, I keep getting popped onto Godlike Productions, which is great. It's cool because it gets my face spread around. That's good. The message spread around, but I could do without the haters sometimes. People don't listen. Anyway, never mind. So, I've linked a whole bunch of stuff, and you don't have to look at half of this stuff. This is just stuff that I thought was interesting over the last day. Things that popped up, and whenever I find things like this, I just pop them into Notepad and log them all down. And then the way I do my reports is I work out which ones are going to be first, which ones are going to be second, etc., which ones are important, which ones are just daft. So I've got links to a bunch of things. So I'll quickly run over them. Top political risk for 2009. Interesting document. We'll see what happens. Chinese political advisors propose making yuan an international currency. And of course there was another article today in the Wall Street Journal. When voices concerns over U.S. Treasuries. And this has been floating around all day long on various news sites that China is threatening certain action about treasuries. Well, of course, the fact that they're also considering making the yuan an international currency and also talking about using it for payments to Taiwan and things is very interesting. And of course, this weekend is March 15th. The Ides of March. Historically, one of the most tumultuous times in history. We'll see what awaits. Of course, Reinhardt has been pointing at something for the 15th. He's also been making funny noises towards Riyadh. Of course, one thing that is happening this weekend, and I'll include a link to this as well, OPEC are meeting yet again in an emergency session in Vienna this weekend on March 15th, where they will decide things like, are we going to cut the production of oil? Are we going to try to get non-OPEC members to join? For instance, there's lots of rumblings that Venezuela would very much like Russia to join OPEC. And there are muted talk about other countries like Norway and Mexico and Syria, etc. So, this will be an interesting weekend regardless of the outcome of the OPEC meeting itself. Now, one of the things people are pushing, some people are saying they're going to cut oil production, some people are saying they're not going to cut oil production, nobody quite knows. And an article that I saw in Market Watch basically saying that gasoline prices are beginning to slowly rise in the States. There's been an increase in the demand for gas in the States, but one of the things that they didn't really highlight in the article was the fact that demand for diesel has dropped dramatically, and demand for most other fuels has also dropped. Jet fuel is down something like 20%. So they're hyping up the fact that so demand is increasing. No. Demand for gasoline is. Everything else is tanking. Anyway, never mind. Right, so a couple other things. Really interesting video. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. Kymatica, which I found out there, and I thought, well, this is interesting. What's this all about? So if people are looking for an interesting video to view this weekend, you can have a look at this. GE credit rating gets cut by 1 notch at S&P Okay, so what this is, basically Standard & Poor's has cut the credit rating on GE credit by 1 notch, which was slightly better than the market was expecting. They expected Standard & Poor's to drop their rating even more. So anyway, I found a blogger for Legatus. Getting back to the whole Reinhardt thing, there's a there's a blogger out there, blog.catholic-convert.com. So that can be very interesting. Anyway, for those looking for spiritual information, I have a link to The Truth from Little Hawk, which is, he's a Micmac Indian, basically talking about how the various Indian tribes really all the same, and really all the people in the world are all the same. Why are we getting so hung up on this? Nobel-prize winner backs world currency. This was in the Australian news today. The Nobel Prize winner is a chap named, let's see if I've got it here. No, I don't actually. Robert A. Mundell. He's a Nobel Prize winner. Won the prize for economic sciences in 1999. He's Canadian. Oh well, yeah, well, you're going to have globalists everywhere, I suppose. So, and he's worked everywhere, and I'm going to link a page to his background, his biography, what this guy is and what he's saying. Okay, but Legatus it doesn't seem to be up to much this weekend, so I'm not sure if Legatus is going to be the trigger or if it's going to be something else this weekend that Reinhardt's pointing to. Because the next big meeting of Legatus is May 6th through 8th. So for those of you of a conspiracy theory kind of mind, if you want to go look and see what Legatus is doing that weekend, or that week rather, then that should be interesting. The Vatican to focus on Paul and the Holy Spirit this Lent. I was like, why are they doing this? This is weird. But it was an interesting link because I found the Catholic News Agency, which is kind of cool. It'll pump things out. Right. Greek terror group Citibank attacked over crisis. The Greeks are still up in arms and doing bad things. 2 arrested in FBI raid at Obama appointee's office. So they've arrested some people in Obama's little transition team. Very nice. And, of course, a couple other things. 7 people have been arrested in Amsterdam over a terrorist threat. One of the people was actually related to one of the Madrid bombers in March a few years back. Space news. Debris forces space station to be cleared. Now this is really suspect. How are they tracking a 1 centimeter piece of an engine? Something really odd is happening in space. There's lots of weird things going on. Now, over here in the UK, we're complaining, members of the cabinet are complaining that it's difficult to get in touch with people in the White House, which seems really strange. Now, of course, this weekend, there are G20 finance ministers, actually this evening, they arrive. They're meeting in a hotel in Sussex somewhere. And I've linked an article that says where the hotel is, so if tomorrow morning you fancy a little protest, that would be the place to go. Although I don't think you'll get very close to the hotel. But hey, whatever, you can pick it on the streets. America is in need of its own perestroika, says Gorbachev. And Gorbachev basically saying that America is a total mess. It's a miracle they're still surviving. Yep. Now, RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland, managed to avoid £500 million worth of tax through global deals. Now, of course, the UK government owns a large percentage of the Royal Bank of Scotland, and yet we let them continue siphoning the tax money off to places like Bermuda. Hey, look, Bermuda again. Okay. Last but not least, China. China's been doing some weird things. Of course, the American Navy is currently sailing off to the South China Sea to rattle a few swords there, it looks like. However, in China itself, Chinese police search houses in, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this correctly, but houses in Lhasa for non-Tibetans. This weekend is the 1-year anniversary of a huge set of protests in Tibet. So the Chinese government, to preempt any kind of nonsense going on, are going door to door and removing people from Tibet. Instigators, for instance. So this is all very good. And the big one, I saved the big one for last. Secret emails show Iraq dossier was sexed up. A very interesting article. Basically, this was the key piece of evidence that was used to really pump people up to say, yes, let's go to Iraq, let's get rid of Saddam. He's doing bad things, he's going to have weapons of mass destruction, all that nonsense. Well, what they did was they sexed up a few of the documents to make it look a little bit worse than it really was. Not good. And to end off the day with a light note, experts agree giant bioengineered crabs pose no threat. This is from The Onion, of course, but it's a really good laugh. So, one final thought. Willis Insurance. What is going on with that outfit? The CEO and chairman is very well connected for that. It's very, very strange what's going on over there. Hopefully I'll do a bigger report on the weekend about Willis and why the Sears Tower is now going to be called the Willis Tower. Okay, folks. Peace, love, understanding. Think about things. I will speak to you again tomorrow.